Hey, this is Professor Homa. Welcome to ex4 lists and links. It's not that exciting of a title. It'll be a review for some of you, and for some of you it may be some new content. This is a finished product of what you're going to be working on. You may not be using this vineyard image. You may be using the image that you just finished with ex3, but you're going to put this image on your page, and we're just going to explore just a couple basics of HTML, an H1, a heading tag. Paragraphs. There's 3 paragraphs here. There's a ordered list that has numbers. There's a bulleted list that has bullets. And that's all you're going to do. This is just basic HTML. It's all default. There'll be no styling yet. You will eventually style it, but just for now, it's just going to be basic HTML. You'll just get used to it. You'll put some links in here that actually, when you click on them, they'll open up to different tabs. And I'll review the HTML just a little bit, and you'll be creating this from scratch. So you'll be starting this page brand new, and hopefully you already have your ex4 folder and you already have an image inside an images folder. You'll be making an index.html file, which is basically a home page. Let me just show you a little bit of the code to start and what you'll be working on. You're basically going to be writing all this code, and you're going to start off with a declaration, the doc type, which tells the page that it's HTML5. You're going to have an HTML tag, or HTML element, I should say. And notice that when we use that term, there's an element, but they also have tag. The HTML element will have an opening tag and then a closing tag at the end. And this one also has a lang attribute with a value of n, which means it's English language. The first element that we run into is going to be the head tag. And you can see when I click on them in brackets, it shows the opening and closing tag. It shows the pairs. And inside the head element, remember it's the element, but it has an opening and closing tag. Inside the head element, there's a title, which is basically your page title, and that's what you'll see when you click on your page. That's what you'll see up here. Links and lists, lists and links. I guess I should tell you which way it should really be. I guess it'll be lists and links instead of links and lists. But anyway, that's your page title, and that's not just your page title. That'll show in a window if it's not in a tab, but it'll also show up in search engines, and it'll also show up in people's favorites list or bookmarks. If they bookmark it, that's what they'll see. So this is relevant what you put in here. It's not just very generic, so it's important. Going back to our code, going back to our head tag, we also have a meta char set. I call it char set. It's a UTF-8, and basically that's the character set. It basically means that it could be translated to other languages. So that's kind of recommended to use for your character set. Moving on to your body, you have your opening body tag, your closing body tag, and this is basically the visual area of your page. If you didn't have anything in your body tags or your body element, you wouldn't see anything on your page. But in here we have an image, we have H1s, a heading, we have paragraphs, we have lists with list elements, we have another paragraph, we have unordered list, UL is unordered list with bullets, and then we just have a paragraph at the end. And we're going to break that up with even more structure, and then we're going to style it. But that's basically what we're going to start with. And again, just to look at it one more time, we have an image, we have a heading, we have 3 paragraphs, 1, 2, 3. We have 3 paragraphs, and then these are lists, and we're going to have ordered lists, which have numbers, and then we're going to have an unordered list, which has bullets. And you could change the bullets, but that's what we're going to use for now. And everything else is default. The spacing is default, the font size is default, the fonts that we're using is default. So nothing is unique right now. Everybody's will look the same other than the picture you have up here. And the only thing different is going to be, the content that you put in here, and where the links link to. These all link to what's called target blank. They'll open up in new tabs. So if you click on this, it'll open up in a separate tab so that you could close it and you could go back to here. So this is kind of what you're going to end up with. I'm going to close this right now. This is kind of a finished version. I basically have like a finished version that I kind of showed you there. But I'm going to start it the way you have it right now, because right now you have an ex4 folder and you have images. And what's inside of images is ex4 header. But before you even get to this point, you might have done this before, but let me make sure you do this. What you're going to do with brackets, when you launch brackets, is you're going to do something called open folder. And that basically defaults so that you'll come to a particular folder, and all the files you see will be in that folder. It'll be like your home folder. So if you go to brackets and you go File, Open Folder, you could basically use your upload folder as, you can use specific folders like ex4, or you can use your upload folder, and I think I'll do that right now. If I go back right now to your CSC 230, you can basically choose upload. Now mine is called upload instructor, and yours would be upload last name, but I could choose that, and you could hit open. And it's not changing because that's the way I had it, but what you'll see in there is going to be your home page, hopefully, your homepage CSS for your original homepage. Remember, your index was the one that had your picture on it. That's the one we started, and I kind of gave you that to start. That's the one you originally downloaded, and it has an image. There's probably a header image and a picture of you. I didn't put my picture of myself on here yet. So those three files are there, and then you're going to have a file called ex4. So ignore this right here, but you're going to have a folder called ex4, and what's going to be in it is a folder called images with your header. Now what we're also going to put in here is an index.html, not this one, but one that's inside a folder. As long as it's inside a separate folder, you can have the same file name. It basically means the home page of each directory of each folder. So I'm going to make a new index page inside of ex4. A lot of our exercises will have an index page to kind of start it off. That'll be the home page of each exercise. So for ex4, we're going to make an index page. Now, to make one in here, you could start one and then save as, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click right on ex4, and I'm going to say new file, and it says untitled right away, and I'm just going to call it index.html, lowercase, and it'll basically just make a blank file, but by putting that extension on it, it'll make sure that when you type stuff, it'll show up color-coded for HTML. Now to start this off, so we don't have to start completely from scratch, I'm going to go to Chrome, and I'm going to go to W3 Schools, and I'm going to go to the HTML5 tutorial and scroll down a little bit. You should have gone through this already, but it has a simple HTML document. And I'm going to click on the Try It Yourself button, and I'm just going to copy this code just to give us a little head start so we don't have to start everything from scratch. So I'm going to copy this code right now, and then I'm going to go back to brackets, but I'm going to paste this file or paste this code right in here right now. And you can see what it does. It color codes it a little bit. I'm going to structure it a little bit more by indenting certain elements. Now HTML right now, if I go inside there, I'm going to put my lang equals en, that's the English, and you could see that I'll get little code hints there. I could click on that to put that in, and that's kind of a main. I'll put a space here too to separate it from my doc type declaration. So that starts off my HTML, and then anything that's inside there I'm going to indent just to show that it's kind of a child of it. So even my title, I'm going to indent it more so that title is actually a child of my head tag, which is actually a child of HTML. And again, sometimes we'll say tag and element interchangeably, but basically this is the tag and the whole thing is the element. So the enclosing is the element. So we want to try to use the term element and only refer to tag when we're talking about either the opening or closing tag. So that's in its own right here. And also body, everything else is going to be a child of HTML. So I'll indent that. I'll indent this H1, which we'll probably get rid of. And I'll indent body, and I'll leave HTML out here. So that's kind of the main, that's our main shell is HTML, and next is body. And these are all equal. The head tag, the body, they're all equal. There's nothing inside body except for these. So I'll keep the H1 here. I'm just going to change that, and I'm just going to put my ex4-lists-links. Now, if you start to type an ampersand, that A, it shows up in red, almost like there's an error. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the ampersand, and I'm going to type the word amp. Because what that does is it brings up code word for the ampersand. It's a little keyword here. It's the ampersand amp semicolon. And that actually puts in the ampersand. So if it shows up in orange, that means it's okay. If it's red, it means there might be a problem. So my ex4 lists and links. And you could say exercise if you want. Okay, and also under page title, you can also just put ex4 lists and links. You don't have to put your name on here or anything. So it's ex4 lists and links, and then also there's a title here that's where there's a heading. H1 is really a heading. It just means it's big and bold. It's just a paragraph, but it means it's big and bold than the other paragraphs. And my first paragraph here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say, you know, some recent shows I've watched. We'll just kind of go into the Netflix things here just to find out some shows that you like. And I'll just put 3 dots here. So some recent shows that I watched, that's a paragraph here, and I'm just going to make a list. I'll make a ordered list, which is a numbered list. So I'm going to hit return here, and I'm going to start an ordered list. I'll put an OL, and you can see it comes up here, and I'll close off that opening tag. And right away, I'm going to hit another tag and a slash. When you put that slash there, that means it's a closing tag for elements that have a closing tag. And OL does, and I'm going to put this on a separate line. And then inside the ordered list, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put LI tags. And I'm going to put like 3 here, because I think I'm going to just list 3 things. And there's nothing in them right now. They're blank right now. And I'll tab this one over. And you'll find that when you start to type the closing tag and the slash, it'll close it for you. So we kind of have an empty list right now. And then what I'll do is I'll copy this, and I'll put a space in between it. The returns in between here don't really matter that much, so you can put extra space in here if you want. It just helps space things out so it looks a little bit better. And this paragraph, I'm just going to say, I was going to put things I like about winter, but I only had 2 things, snow and snow days. So I'm going to put things I miss during the winter. And you could put something else if you want. So I'll just put and I could put an extra, I could put 3 or 4, how many I want here. Now, whether it's an ordered list or unordered list, now I said this was going to be unordered, that's going to have a UL. That means it's going to be bullets. So I'm going to put ULs there. So this one will have numbers, this one will have bullets, and I'm going to save it. And remember, in brackets, it opens it up in a separate kind of Chrome other than the one you're in. So if you click this little lightning bolt up here, you can preview it. And it may open an existing one, so I'll close the other one. This is what I have so far. I have that's the H1, that's the paragraph, that's the paragraph. There's my list, and there's my list. Now I have nothing in the list right now, so that's why they're empty right now. So I'm going to go back. Now you can leave this open and then just kind of refresh. Once you save, you could go back and refresh. So I'm going to put some content in here right now. I'm going to put one more paragraph down, and what I'm going to do is just make another P. And for a paragraph, you're going to have a starting P tag and then a closing P tag. So I'll put that in right now and then just put some copy in here. And I'm just going to put copyright. And for copyright, I'm going to just start typing an ampersand again and then copy. And what it does is it brings up the copyright symbol. All these symbols start with an ampersand, and I have a link to all these symbols on our documents and resources page, but I'll use the copyright, and I'll just put 2017. And I'll put a space, and I'll put copyright, and I'll put my name. You could put your name, and that's all I'll put. I guess I'll put a period. So there's our 3 paragraphs. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. And notice each paragraph needs to have an opening and closing P tag. Opening and closing P tag. When you click on them, they'll show you the pair. And if there's a problem, it should show up in red. All of these have a pair. See, there's the OL. There's the UL, and even these LIs have pairs. So I'm putting these in first, even before I put in content. Here's my title tag, has a closing tag. And one thing that doesn't right now, I'm going to put this in. I'm just going to put in my meta tag, and that's that meta char set. And char set will come up here. And then even the equals comes up here, and then you could just look for UTF. You could scroll down for UTF if you find it, and it's UTF-8, and that's all you need. Now this does not have a closing tag, and notice before I put in that bracket, it showed this in red. Whenever you see something in red, it means there's some problem before it, and the problem before it was I didn't close this tag. Now this is a self-closing tag. It only has one. It doesn't have a closing meta tag. This is it, and there's a number of tags that are like that. The image tag is like that. So this is kind of started off. I'm going to save what I have, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to take a look at it. And I'm pretty much ready to go and start to put my lists in here, and this is what I want so far. So we're going to need to put in our header image, and then we're going to put in some lists. So let me take a break here, and then for part 2, we'll continue with our HTML page.